We are doing the mailbag video today. I took some questions over the week that you guys threw in the comment section, made this my video for today. So we're going to get into a lot of it. A lot of it talks about a lot of talent. Can the Lions make it to a Super Bowl? That type of stuff in today's video. So I'm going to give you my thoughts on this one. Let's get it started. Continue to subscribe to the channel, folks, because you don't want to miss out on the latest Detroit Lions news and rumors. All you got to do is hit that big old red subscribe button and you don't miss out. Again, we're going to get into the mailbag video right now, and we're going to go ahead and take the questions and give you my thoughts. First question here, should the Lions add more talent upon this defensive line? Should they? Will they? So there's two different questions right here. Should they? I do believe they should. I would like to see another player in there like a Yannick Ngakoue, of someone of that nature, or if they could make a trade for Hassan Reddick, who was already traded this offseason, something like that. I think they could absolutely do that. You got the money in the bank to get it done. So it's not a fiscal problem. You have some players that are still free agents. There's going to be trade candidates as well as teams cutting down to 53 when that eventually comes here in a couple weeks or month. And then the Lions could add talent there, and I think they should. Will they? I don't believe they're going to do it. I think they're going to stick with what they got right now, let it play out through a couple weeks in the preseason, and if that point it's still looking like there's nobody else, there's no progress being made, I could see a situation where they add a free agent who was already on the market and or a player that was released by another team. When they do get to 53, I think that seems like to be the most logical route if you ask me. So I'm going to give you a question. Should the Detroit Lions add talent upon this defensive line? Why for yes and for no? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get into the next question here. We're going to talk about, Mike, do you really believe the Lions can win a Super Bowl? Do I really believe this, or is this more of a click type of thing for videos? I'm going to tell you 100% believe they can win a Super Bowl. Will they? We don't know, right? Takes a lot. To win a Super Bowl, not only you need to be good, but you need to have luck when it comes to the injury front, the injury battle. You got to have great depth. You got to have a little bit of luck. Lions got a bunch of games indoor, only 3 outdoor, so that's a positive thing. You got to stay on pace. Sometimes teams go through lumps even if they're good. All of that combined, it takes a lot to get to a Super Bowl. I think the Lions have a legit shot. They got the coaching staff. They got the players, or a good roster, depth there. 100% I believe they could. Yeah, that's not for clicks. It's not for views. I've been on YouTube for over 5 years now. And last year and this year was really the only times I was super excited. Maybe year one, from, 5 years ago or something like that. I remember I predicted something when I first started YouTube. Didn't pan out. Other than that, been pretty good. But I just really, truly do believe the Lions got a great roster. So that's not BS. I really 100% believe that they can get there. We're in the NFC Championship last year. Why can't they do it this year? They have just every shot as anybody else. So, yeah, I do believe that they can. Will they? I don't know. Mike, what players are the Lions targets in free agency? Well, right now the free agency is obviously still going on, but there is definitely not a lot of talent in the board. Emmanuel Ogbah is out there. Yannick Ngakoue for edge is out there. Justin Simmons, safety, is out there. You know, there is some players still on the board. I don't think they're going to sign anybody as of right now. I just want to keep it 100 with you. I think they feel that this roster is good enough, and there's some players that's going to battle it out on the wide receivers and the pass rushers that they want to see these young guys play, and I think that's the way to go. That is the correct route right now, right? Just see what they do in training camp. If they suck or if they're not producing, okay, but if they're doing well and they're continuing to develop like we have seen so far with every single dang player that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell has under them, is they know how to develop them. You sit with their plan. They know football more than myself, okay? They know football and talent way more than I'll ever know. These guys are experts at their job. They know exactly what they're doing. I think the best GM in football, right? One of the best coaches in football. These guys are intelligent. They know their team better than we know the team. As much as I like a pass rusher, I think they're just going to let these guys battle it out and then go from there. And that is the best route. Should the Detroit Lions, sit back? What do you guys think? Should the Lions sit back right now, just kind of see what the players they got in the camp do with positions that we may be 100% comfortable with? Or should they go sign more talent? What do you guys think in the comments? I think stand pat. I think that's what they're going to do, stand pat right now. But if it doesn't get better, they can definitely make a move. I think that's the best route. That's what they do here. So, that's just the most logical route for this team. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Next question here, we're going to get any player you would trade for. Would there be a player I would trade for? Well, if I'm looking for trades right now, low cost, cheap, whether it be contract as well as compensation, that's what I'd be looking for. Right now, Hassan Reddick probably would be the only player I would look to trade for, because I don't think you'd have to give up really anything because he was holding out. And that would be a situation. Any other players trading for, I know a lot of people like Matt Crosby and all this other stuff. We just can't do a big, gigantic name. They have already given away 2 draft picks of this year's draft. I don't see a situation where they're going to give up more right now. That just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. This team loves its draft picks. This team loves to have young players and scout them out in the draft. That is a part of the process. Brad Holmes loves it. The scouts are good. The coaches are good. They know how to find talent. So continuing to give up draft picks. Say if you wanted to get a wide receiver or something like that, a big name, you're not going to have a draft this year. It's going to be just a handful of players, and that's never good because we want to continue to bring in players to replace free agents that leave this team, and you got a draft to do that. And all the rounds count, man. Every round counts, 1 through 7. So we got to have the most of our draft picks. So Hassan Reddick right now, and that's really about it. Unless we can get lucky, right? So no, not really anything right now. Will the defensive line produce more than 41 sacks this last year? That's what they did last year, is 41 sacks. This year, they absolutely will have more. I do agree they're going to have more. I think Aiden Hutchinson is going to probably get 15 sacks, somewhere of that nature. Adding DJ Reader is going to force him to take on double teams. It's going to give Hutch more opportunities to sack, and when he's taking on double teams, Ali McNeil's going to have more opportunities. And same with whoever's on the opposite, Marcus Davenport or John Kaminsky or Pascal. I do think they do get more than 41 sacks. If they got less than that, you'd have to make some changes to England, because we got in a new defensive line coach, Terrell Williams, and I actually like what I'm hearing from him. I think that had a lot to do, not a lot. Let's see, had some to do with last year's lack of production on the defensive line as coaching. Because it's not a coincidence that everybody's kind of, didn't do well, right, for the sack. So I think it's more, I think the talent is upgraded, and I do think Terrell Williams is going to upgrade. I think they get more than 41 sacks. I think they're going to be a better team in the pass rushing. We just don't know how good. If they can get to mid-range, I'm happy right there. If your defensive line is ranked 16, I think the Lions have a great shot to, because their defense, if they take any substantial amount of step forward this year, the Lions should be in the conversation of winning a Super Bowl. Their offense is good. We know what their offense can do. Now it's all on this defense. Next question, biggest need, wide receiver or edge? Man, that's a great question. And I'll go edge here, even though they have talent. I think wide receiver is a need at the very bottom. We're talking like 6. Okay, because of Josh Reynolds leaving. And I think other players can go ahead and fill in what he lost. But for pass rush, it's a little bit different here, because can Marcus Davenport step up? He was injured last. There's a lot of questions on the defensive line. and we don't really have the answers to them. So I'm going to go with the pass rush, edge being the biggest quote-unquote need. I don't think it's really a much of a need, though. I think they can add depth, or they can have a player. That's really about it. This Lions roster is absolutely good. It's amazing, but they could use more talent in those positions, and that's really it. Jake Bates and Badger fighting it out for kicker. Not much questions for this team. There's just not. Next question. If you draft one player, who would it be? If I can draft one player, well, first off, I haven't really looked in the draft right now for this up-and-coming draft, so I couldn't tell you about like who is the biggest players for the draft this up-and-coming season. Give me till about week 4 or 5 of the NFL season where I still kind of jump into it then. Maybe a little bit less because the Lions are a good team like we did last year. But position-wise, I would just go pass rush because we don't even know where they're going to be picking in the draft, hopefully 32. But I would say pass rush or wide receiver. If you're looking at a position that the Detroit Lions could upgrade for next year, I think offensive line is as well because, we don't really know who is going to be there. Defensive line, secondary should be good because we got Ennis Rakestraw last year. He's probably going to step in if Carlton Davis does leave or if Carlton Davis stays, he's still there. So wide receiver, edge from the position, I would like the Detroit Lions to look to draft in there. So I got a question for you. Do you think that the Lions should draft a edge or a wide receiver with their first pick in this up-and-coming 2025 draft? Let me know your thoughts. What do you think is a position they should look to draft? If you have not subscribed to the channel, you got to hit that good old subscribe button. It really helps the channel out. It does everything and continues to get the videos flowing. With that said, folks, adios.